Recording in progress.
Welcome to our restorative practice, and today's theme is Begin Again. We're going to start in a comfortable seated position, imagining that we're under the Bodhi tree. The intention for our practice today is to discover the Bodhicitta in each of us. The Bodhi tree you can think of like a fig tree, and we'll do a reading later and refer to it as the Pipal tree. But it's a symbol of spiritual awakening and the wisdom and enlightenment that's in each of us when we embrace beginner's mind. So as always, settle in. This is your yoga practice, so honor your body always and make any adjustment as needed that feels best in your physical, energetic, and spiritual body. And our affirmation for today is very simple. The words begin again. And if that feels comforting to you, you can say this to yourself in moments of stress or tension, or even now. Try it on. We begin again together. And I'll invite 3 sounds of the bell. Also, I'll share a gatha by Thich Nhat Hanh, as this weekend we honor 2 years from his continuation day. Listening to the bell, I feel my afflictions begin to dissolve. My mind is calm, my body relaxed. A smile is born on my lips. Following the sound of the bell, my breathing guides me back to the safe island of mindfulness. In the garden of my heart, the flower of peace blooms beautifully. And take a moment to let your own natural breath rhythm flow through your body. And we'll start with planting our feet firmly on the earth in front of us. You might wish to place something beneath your sits bones. Knees are bent. Spine is lifted. And give yourself enough space so that you can place your hands behind you and let your legs start to zebra to the left and to the right. And as we go through our yoga practice today, see if you can make each of these movements, even if you've done them before, brand new. See if you can bring beginner's mind to the movement of your body. And this might mean softening or slowing down. Let's let our knees now point to the right. And one foot is slightly behind and One foot is slightly in front. Lengthen through the top of your crown and start to roll your torso ever so slightly. And be very gentle here as we awaken our bodies with mindfulness. With small micro movements. And come to stillness and face your gaze over your right knee. Bring your hands to frame in front of your right knee or next to it. And then start to lean forward, letting yourself fold to the ground, letting your arms come down as they will. Relax through your shoulder blades. And maybe your head finds the ground and your arms stretch out further. Or maybe you're resting your chin or your mouth on your knee. What newness can you bring to this stretch for the outer hip muscles, the psoas muscles that wrap around our hips and buttocks and really help us with all of our movement. And play with this pose. So try different variations and see what feels best. Tune into your body and ask yourself, where do you feel sensation? And what else is possible? One more deep, nourishing breath on this side. Let that go. And then start to gently, with mindful movement, come back up. Taking a moment to orient yourself and deepening the legs again, side to side, pressing the left shoulder back as we lean to the right, and the right shoulder back. Graceful movement until you now come to the left side, and we will pull up through the crown of the head, lengthening the spine, and some circular movement with the torso, either direction. Feeling all the places that your body is touching the earth. Move into the yumminess, the juicy stretch that is all yours. Now come to stillness and tilt your chin up slightly and start to fold forward over the left knee. This side will be different. As you exhale, see if you can let yourself surrender more into the pose. Another option is you can Bring your hands together and make a little pillow out of your fists, and then let the yin tang spot between your eyebrows find the knuckle of your thumb, either side. And you can rest your head on this point, activating the third eye. Less is more. Breathe into the psoas muscles, especially on the left outer hip and glute muscle area. And if you wish to add more of a stretch for your shoulders, you can lengthen your arms. And let your head land where it wishes. Noticing the wonder that is you, your beautiful body, this sacred vessel, a container for your spirit. One deep inhale and then a full exhale. And slide your hands up by your face and gently, slowly start to come back up to seated. Bring your feet in front of you in any seated posture that is comfortable. So you could even be on your knees if that's more comfortable. We're going to do a little facial massage next. I've been listening to some Ayurvedic science teachings, and this idea of pinching the eyebrows starting at the center and then pinching the eyebrows across as a way to ease deep tension and stress, alleviate worry. See if this feels good to you, or if you need something more gentle, you can just take your finger pads and massage the eyebrow structure from the inner third eye space and outwards. You can smooth and press, or you can try this pinching motion. Again, starting at the upper nose area where it joins to the eyebrows. See how that feels to your body. And relax through your shoulders, and now just starting at that third eye, just going around the eyes. Tracing these precious bones of your face. Bringing your awareness to your breath. And then we'll do a little worry washing away. So if you have longer sleeves, pull them up so that you can expose that soft yin side of your lower arm, the side that does not have the sun usually on it, and it's paler and less freckles. So expose that soft yin feminine side, the side of the moon, and now bring the inner side of your lower arm across your forehead. And you can alternate your arms, smoothing the worry lines, the softness of your own touch, awakening the Bodhicitta in you, the beginner mind. Tapping into the magical healing powers of your own body. And now let's clench and unclench our face. So you can squinch it all up and then relax everything. Squinching and clenching and then releasing. Bring your shoulders up and down. This beautiful contrast between contraction and release. And now the same in our fists. So bring your fists together, clench them and open them. Clenching and opening. And maybe we start saying the words, begin again. Begin again. Begin again. Very nice. In the gatha that I shared at the beginning of our practice with the bell, there was a little phrase, a smile is born upon my lips. And this is called yoga face. So I'm going to challenge you to see if you can bring yoga face into your practice. It can be hard because what it involves is letting the corners of your lips turn up just so slightly. The inner smile. And play with that for a moment. We're going to switch the cross of our legs if you had them crossed, and we're going to do a little seated cat-cow, which is a nice variation if your knees are ever tender. In many yoga classes, there's a kneeling cat-cow. Here's a nice version that you can try. And you can also do this in a seated form in chair yoga. So start by crossing your arms. If you can, it might be hard to reach opposite knees depending on how far apart your seated posture is. Let's see if with your inhale you can rock forward, slightly lifting your chin, and then exhaling, rounding your spine and letting your chin come down towards your chest. Inhaling, rolling forward. Move very slowly with any of these head movements to avoid vertigo or dizziness. You might be feeling this in your outer hip muscles, but actually you're also doing a phenomenal spinal articulation. So notice as you inhale how every vertebrae in your spine is curving slightly differently. And then as you exhale, the rounding. And when you're ready, we can stretch our legs out in front of us. And just rock your hips from side to side. Flex your feet back at you. In seated Dandasana staff pose, we're going to introduce a new mudra. And it looks more complicated than it actually is. I'm going to bring a card close to the screen so that you can see this. Ashvaratna mudra means horse jewel. So right off the bat, you might start getting suspicious. And I'll show you this picture, and then I'll show you how to make a horse jewel. So we're going to bring our hands together in Anjali Mudra. And if your hands are cool, you might wish to warm them up and rub them together a little bit. Sparkle the kitty woke up at the sound of this curious sound, which makes me smile. And then let your third fingers come down and your second fingers come down. So you're just letting them fold down. And now your pinky fingers and your fourth fingers are still upright and your thumbs are crossed. This is horse jewel Ashvaratna mudra. And this horse jewel represents a horse carrying a wish jewel. So as we begin again, what is your deepest heart's longing? What is the wish contained in this jewel? Soften your hands. If you're pressing your hands together, release them slightly. We want a gentleness in our hands. And you can have this mudra up by your heart, or you can lower it slightly. It helps balance the fire element, or Agni, which sometimes arises in us, and it might show up with anger. Horse jewel, Ashva Ratna mudra helps us remove narrow-mindedness. And you begin again. Enjoy beginner's mind. And try to start to think of other people's views as just a point of view. And you can have your point of view. And let's release that mudra and sweep our hands up to the sky. And Paschimottanasana, bring your beginner's mind as you start to fold forward, hinging at the waist and reaching towards your toes, releasing the backs of your shoulders and your shoulder blade muscles, releasing your neck, releasing any tension around your eyes and around your jaws, releasing any tension in your fingers. Soften and fold. Begin again. And now start to rise up and place your right foot over your left leg, which is still outstretched. And wrap your left arm around your right lower knee area, maybe upper shin. Inhale and raise your right arm up to the sky. And now bring your right arm behind you And start to look over your right shoulder in seated spinal twist. Breathe into the space beneath the shoulder blade on the left. Maybe you've done this posture many, many, many times. Can you make it new? Wring out any tension in your spine. Gaze is soft, chin is strong. And now back to the center. Stretch out your right foot by your left and point and flex your toes. And move your feet around in a nice circle, either side. And now bring your left foot to the ground so your left knee is bent and left knee can come over. Pull up through your spine, bring length to your body, and wrap your right arm around your left leg. Pull up again. Inhale and raise your left arm up to the sky. And then let your left hand find the ground behind you. And start to twist over to the other side. And if you need more of a stretch in this posture on one side, like I don't feel much here, I'm going to bring my right outer arm with my thumb pointing up, and I'm going to press that and create a little bit more of a stretch. Avoid the possibility of your spine kind of collapsing backwards. So see if you can pull up through that crown of your head. One more deep breath and unfold. Very nice. And now we're going to swing our legs around and take your time getting into your child's pose. I'm going to do a little reading here. So make sure that you choose a version of Balasana that feels really comfortable to your body. And this could be knees together and more of a fetal curl with your hands behind you, maybe rabbit, coming a little forward. Or maybe your knees come open wide and your big toes are touching underneath you, and maybe you reach forward. Maybe you liked that yin tang third eye chakra that we introduced. Maybe you wish to bring your thumbs together so that you can have your head resting that way. So find your comfortable child's pose. And I'm going to read to you from Old Path, White Clouds, Thich Nhat Hanh, Walking in the Footsteps of the Buddha. Chapter 17 is about the pipal leaf. So imagine maybe a fig tree. Beneath the pipal tree, the hermit Gautama focused all of his formidable powers of concentration to look deeply at his body. He saw that each cell of his body was like a drop of water in an endlessly flowing river of birth, existence, and death. And he could not find anything in the body that remained unchanged or that could be said to contain a separate self. Intermingled with the river of his body was the river of feelings, in which every feeling was a drop of water. These drops also jostled with one another in a process of birth, existence, and death. Some feelings were pleasant, some unpleasant, and some neutral. But all of his feelings were impermanent. They appeared and disappeared just like the cells of his body. And we'll come back to this. But part of this mind of wisdom and the Bodhi tree and the Bodhicitta in you is about impermanence. Let's come to a table position. Good if you wish to keep something soft under your knees and press up through the core muscles of your body. So imagine a lifting as you press your hands, finger pads open wide to the earth, and you press your shoulders also. A lifting. Now keep your knees a little closer together. And we're going to do this moving, almost water-like motion of coming back with our exhale. And then inhaling, sliding forward into Sphinx. And then pressing up and rounding the spine. It's actually hard for me to talk this through. So if you just let your body come forward and a rolling spinal movement, however that works for you, that might be easier than me trying to describe it. And you can come as low down as you wish. So you could go all the way down and then lifting back up. And be very careful and gentle here. Or it's almost like a rolling cat-cow back into child. That feels easier to my body. And see if you can bring gracefulness to this movement, letting your breath lead your movement. Very nice. And when you're ready, you're going to move your blanket, if you had one, out of the way. And maybe now, if you're in a colder area and you've had socks on, take your socks off. We talked about fire and Agni, and we're going to press up into plank if this works for your body. You can always keep your knees down and just pull your feet up if that feels better. But for a moment, let's build some strength and heat in our bodies. In plank if you wish, or any other version, and rolling forward and backward on your toes just ever so slightly. Very nice. And when you're ready, pressing back to downward facing dog. Remembering if your shoulders are tender, you never have to do this on the ground. You can always be using something that still allows for the opening that we wish for in our upper back, but takes all the pressure off of our shoulders and our wrists. So using, like I am, a windowsill, the back of a couch, a chair, anything you wish. So from your downward facing dog, can you make this new? We usually pedal our heels, but even if you're doing that, can you look under your armpits? Maybe that's new. Can you roll up onto your toes and press your heels down? Can you play with shifting into plank and pressing back into downward dog? Or can you try stillness? So many options. You can tuck your right foot behind your left. You can widen your stance and do a wide-legged downward facing dog. So many choices. But wherever you are, let's raise our right leg up to the sky and then pull our right foot forward to the outside of our hands. So our hands are touching the ground. Our right foot is bent. Our right knee is bent. And we're in lizard. And from lizard, plant your left hand and open your right arm up to the sky. And then bring your right hand back to inside of your right foot. And you can do lizard with your left leg up, or you can bring your knee down to the ground. And breathe here in this hip flexor stretch. Feel the release of emotions. And wherever you are, make sure you press your knee back up. Bring your right foot to meet your left or back in plank. Lower your knees to the ground. Feet go flat. Tuck your arms by your side and we'll come down to the ground. Inhaling to upward facing dog. Pressing back to plank and back to downward facing dog just for a moment. Lift your left leg up to the sky and bring your left foot forward. Now I'm going to switch directions. Left arm is on the inside of your left leg. And both feet are pointing forward. In your version of lizard, maybe you wish to bring your right knee down gently and flatten your foot to allow for just a little bit of a different stretch. This is more strength building with leg up, but this actually you'll feel more in the hip flexors. Inhale deeply, begin again, and exhale any emotions that are not serving you. Fear, anger, jealousy, greed. And now if your right leg was down, let's lift the knee, bring our foot back. So we're in plank, knees to the ground, tuck your arms in by your side. Sweeping up to upward facing dog. And pressing back to downward facing dog. And because this is a begin again practice, we're going to do something a little different. So walk yourself until your legs are wide and you now are in a forward wide-legged stance. So your big toes are pointing in, little pigeon toe here. Your hands are on the ground, and maybe walk your hands back a little bit through your legs. In our begin again practice, we're not going to necessarily follow the usual path to get up. Now walk your hands over to the left side and bend your left knee and raise your right toe to the sky. So you're in a squat position, a skandasana posture. And bring your right hand to the ground. Carry your left hand to the ground on the inside of your left knee and raise your right hand up to the sky. Deep inhale. This is a beautiful full body stretch. And now creep your way over to the other side. So a bit of a crab walk. Right hand plants to the ground. Left arm comes up to the sky. And let's do this once more to your own body rhythm. On the left, opening with your arm if that feels good to you. And then finishing this out on the other side. Breathing into the stretch in your body. And now coming back to the center, find your wide-legged forward fold. And heel toe your feet inwards until you are in a bent forward fold, Uttanasana. Your knees are bent. Bring your hands to your shins and flatten your back. Deep inhale, halfway lift. And fold. And now make your way up, however it's best for your body, to Tadasana, powerful pose, mountain pose. Feet are flat on the ground. Hands are open, receiving next to you. And if you enjoyed the horse jewel mudra from earlier, bring your hands together at your heart center and fold the middle finger and the index fingers down and let your fourth finger and pinkies still be strong. Thumbs are together and lower this by your heart. Begin again. And I'll read to you a poem by Rosemary Watola Trummer. I feel it. I feel in my fingers something of starlight. I feel in my breath something like dawn. I feel in my inner caverns something akin to the radiance of glowworms, as if just knowing that someone is holding me in light has made the moment brighter. It occurs to me I can do this too, and I begin to imagine others gathered by sunset, carried by candlelight, infused with the soft warmth of a low campfire. I picture the light as it spreads across the world, as it seeks out hearts and lives I will never know, what it must look like from space as it spreads, as it grows, as it blooms through this darkness where we all live together. And from your Tadasana, however you were standing, let's come to the front of our mats. And we're going to do a little stargazing ourselves, a stargazing warrior. Starting with trust, step your left foot back. And then let your left foot find the earth in warrior one foot posture, which is left leg is straight and left foot is pointed at a slight angle. Right knee is bent. Take your time getting here and bring your arms back to cactus. Deep inhale and then fold your arms forward and hug your body and lean forward over your right knee. Raising your arms up in cactus, stargazing, and then folding down over your right knee. Once more. Inhale and exhale. And this next time, pop your left foot to find your right foot. Give your shoulders a nice hug and come back up to standing. Same thing on the other side. So step your right foot in trust behind you and let your right foot find the earth, pressing into the blade of your right outer foot. Your right leg is strong and straight, and your left leg is strong, but knee is bent right over the ankle, so you can still see your toes. Raise your arms up in cactus to gaze to the stars. Deep inhale and exhale, hold your body and fold forward. Inhaling, cactus arms back, and exhaling. A loving embrace for yourself. Give yourself the permission to begin again in this minute, in this hour, on this day, in this week, in this month, in this year. Every moment, we can begin again. Last time, stargazing up, holding down, and popping our left foot to meet our right. Coming back up to standing. Sweep your arms up to the sky, slight back bend, and let yourself fold forward, half sun salutation. Touch the earth with your fingertips. Halfway lift, hands come to the fronts of your shins. Press the crown of your head towards that opposite wall. Nice flat spine. Inhale and exhale, fold. And coming up to the sky. Very nice. Hands over your head, slight back bend, and hands come down to your heart. Rising up to the sky. Deep inhale. And this time, as you come down, bring your hands to heart center. See if you can make your horse jewel. And then bend your knees and see if you can come down to a balancing squat. So you're balancing on your toes. Raise your horse jewel with your wish up to the sky. Open your hands and let your hands find the earth behind you. And your sits bones will come down to the ground. Bring your hands to your shins and roll your way down. Maybe roll up and down a little bit. Rolling out any last things that you're holding on to that keep you from beginning again. And then this last time, stretch your hands out in front of you, thumbs up. And now tuck your chin and roll your spine down, down, down. And feel the weight of your body touching the earth. Hands by your sides, bring your knees in close and give yourself a big hug. Back of head is flat. Press your sacrum down to the ground. Apanasana. Love what your body can do for you. Now bring your hands wide to T. And cross your right knee over your left. And let your body roll to the right until your big toe is just balancing on the ground. Release your left shoulder. Rolling back to the center, uncross, tuck your left knee over your right and roll your hips to the left until your left toe, that's my right big toe touches the earth. Press your right shoulder down. Breathe in and back to center. Bring your feet by your buttocks and bring your hands to graze the backs of your ankles. Press into the ground and slightly lift your hips. And then let your bottom come down and roll your chest up a little bit. So a little spinal rolling here. To lift your hips, we're not going into a full Setuvasana. We're not lifting into bridge, but we're just doing a little bit of spinal articulation here. So it's a little rocking on our pelvis. And now come to stillness. And reach your hands over your head and stretch your toes out. One last big, wonderful stretch. And now prepare for Shavasana. And I'm going to read to you some more from White Cloud. So take your time. Make yourself a comfortable nest. If you're cold, put on something warm. Be decadent here with slippers and pillows and blankets. Shavasana is thought of as the most important part of our practice. So don't rush setting yourself up for something lovely with maybe a pillow beneath your knees and a blanket over your body. If you have an eye pillow, you can place that over your eyes. And I will read to you a little bit more from Old Path, White Clouds. But I want to show anybody who's newer to this practice how to get yourself really comfy. Your hands can be by your sides. can let your eyes close if that feels good. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. Enjoy this beautiful restorative practice. I'll share with you a little more from Old Path White Clouds. He smiled and looked up at a pipala leaf imprinted against the blue sky, its tail blowing back and forth as if calling him. Looking deeply at the leaf, he saw clearly the presence of sun and stars. Without the sun, without light and warmth, the leaf could not exist. This was like this because that was like that. He also saw in the leaf the presence of clouds. Without clouds, there could be no rain, and without rain, the leaf could not be. He saw the earth, time, space, and mind. All were present in the leaf. In fact, at that very moment, the entire universe existed in that leaf. The reality of the leaf was a wondrous miracle. And start to wiggle your fingers and toes. And bring your body gently and with ease over to one side. Or you may stay in your Shavasana, wonderful nest, as long as you wish. And take 3 deep, nourishing inhales. And when you're ready, start to come to a seated position. You can keep your eyes closed if you wish. And I'll close our practice with 2 sounds of the bell. We begin again. May you explore your bodhicitta, and thank you for sharing this practice together today. Namaste.